my friends, how are y'all doing? Today is Friday, August 4th, and I am back with my stitching update. It has been the usual 2 weeks since my last one, so I hope you have all been well. If you are brand new to my channel, welcome. My name is Olivia, and this is my YouTube channel, Pumpkin Hollow Quilts. This is a YouTube channel where I will typically talk about my cross stitching as well as my quilting. So if that sounds like something you might be interested in, I hope you will consider sticking around. And if you are one of my amazing subscribers, welcome back. So before I get into today's video, I just want to say a big thank you to all of you guys who tuned in and watched my last Flosstube video. I really appreciate the time that you spend with me because I know summer is a very busy time of the year, but I so appreciate each and every one of you who stopped by and watched my last video. Today's video, I'm kind of squeezing in between a lot of stuff. It's a very busy weekend for me, and I almost called in sick, but I thought I can't do that because I promised I would be here. So I'm not sure how long today's video will be, but I do have quite a bit of progress to show and talk about. While I worked, I was able to tune into some Flosstube. Of course, I had to watch Carol Saltbox Stitcher. I never miss one of her videos. I just love her. Love seeing all of her wonderful projects and her plans, and I just love Carol. So I was able to watch Carol's newest video, and then I was able to tune in and watch two brand new Flosstubers to me. The first one is Rosanna, and her YouTube channel is Nest of Petals, and that is also, I believe, what her Instagram name is as well. I watched her first video. I think she just has the first one out. I should have checked before I did today's video, but I was able to catch her first video, loved it, loved her. And then the second new Flosstuber that I watched is Stitching in My Pajamas. Her name is Beth, and I was able to sit down and watch her video yesterday while I worked on some quilting, and she was such a delight. I loved seeing all of the vintage samplers that she has hanging up behind her. Her and her sister have a design business that they're doing. I could not find the name. I know she had said in her first video what it was. I didn't write it down. And I kind of looked a little bit to see if I could figure out what it was, but I couldn't. So if I do figure it out, I'll make sure to put it, somewhere down in here. But I really enjoyed Beth's video. I'm excited to see what her next video will be. I love seeing what she was working on, and I just really enjoyed seeing all of that delicious eye candy that was behind her on her walls. I hope someday I am able to, find a vintage sampler and acquire it. But I really enjoyed Beth's video, so definitely go check both of those ladies out, as well as Carol Saltbox Stitcher. So over the past 2 weeks, I was able to work on a variety of projects. I'm only able to stitch in the evening, so just kind of depending on what was going on, I might get 2.5, maybe 3 hours of stitching done if I'm lucky. Sometimes less, it just kind of depended on what was going on. Like last night, I only got about 1.5 hours of stitching done. But, and I think I mentioned this in my last video, I made the decision that I want to get Halloween at Hollyberry Farms complete this year before October. So I ended up working on it quite a bit over the past 2 weeks. I just really felt the call to work on this one. So this is a pattern designed by Stacy Nash Primitives, and absolutely love working on it. I think in my last video, I only had a tiny little bit of the house started, but I picked it up and I kept going, and I kind of kept changing my mind on how much I wanted to get done. I think when I picked it back up again, I thought, well, if I could just get the first story done, then I'll go and work on something else. And then I would go work on something else, and the next night come back to this one. And I think, well, if I could just get, maybe another little bit done, and then I would do that. And finally, I just decided I'm just going to stick with it, and I'm going to stitch all of the white of the house. so that way when I am done with my assignments, I can come back to this one and start working on finishing the fill-in of the windows and then work on the roof. Because I've been told once the house is complete, everything else goes really quickly. So this is how far I got. I was able to get all of the white done, and I am stitching this on a piece of 36 count 18th century Rook by R&R Reproductions, and I am stitching it one strand of thread over two linen threads. I absolutely love this so much, and I cannot wait to get it finished this year. It's just my mission to get it done before October. So I feel like I got a pretty good, I feel like my trajectory of getting it done before October is pretty good unless something happens. So I did spin the wheel once, and it came up on You're a Grand Old Flag by Samplers Not Forgotten. So I originally had planned to work on this one for 3 evenings, and I did one. And this is how far I got. So I was able to work a little bit more on the border, and I love the way that the border color looks against this linen. So this is a piece of 36 count Tin Roof by Weeks Dye Works, and I am using the called for threads, and I'm stitching it 1/2. So I think when I started back on this, I only had the top done, and then I was able to go down the side. But the whole time I was working on it, all I could think about was Halloween at Hollyberry. It's just been on my mind constantly. It just calls to me, it just keeps saying, you need to get me done. So I worked on that. And then I forgot to bring the paperwork for this one out. But this is Spooky Countdown by the Primitive Hare. So this is one of my assignments. And I returned to working on it the night before last, and I am all the way down at the bottom. And once I get the bottom done, then this will be complete. So I have been stitching this with my friend Yvette, but Yvette already finished hers and she already got it framed, and she sent me a picture of her framed piece, and it looks amazing. So I definitely cannot wait to get this one done, and I will continue working on this until it is complete. So I hope to maybe have it done in the next couple of days. So I'm stitching it on a piece of 36 count jack-o'-lantern by XJUDesigns, and I am stitching it with the called for DMC 1/2. And I am actually stitching it on the back side of jack-o'-lantern because the really dyed molted side of it is a little dark for all of these colors. But I think it looks great, and I cannot wait to have it finished. So I started this in January, and then Yvette kind of divided it up into assignments that we would do. And the very bottom is the very last assignment. So excited. I cannot wait to get this one done and get it fully finished and have it out this year. And on the 31st of July, it was time to work on Jack's Bash by Plum Street Samplers. So I am stitching this with my new friend Katie of So Tattered. And we are working on this on the 13th and the 31st of the month. Although I told her that we might have to squeeze an extra day out of the month to work on it because it is just so much fun. So this is the progress that I made. I think in my last video I had worked on just the flower and a little bit of that upper border, and then on the 31st I decided to go over and work on the big haunted mansion. I love it. So she is quite a bit farther ahead of me. She actually is working on the side of it over here. So she has one of the houses on the other side done and then quite a bit of the border. And it looks amazing. So I definitely think I might need to just, drop it in, just have a day where it's, I'm going to work on Jack's Bash. So I love this one so much, and I am so glad that she was up for working on it with me. So I'm stitching Jack's Bash on a piece of 36 count Grandma Slip by XJUDesigns, and I am using the called for thread, and I'm stitching at 1/2. Just love it. Love it. Cannot wait to get back to it. And then the last project that I did, so this is one that I filmed my video, and then that night I planned to work on it, and I planned to work on it for 3 nights, and it only got 2. And it's actually in timeout right now. I just had a heck of a time with the border. I must have ripped out and restitched the border section 3 times. And it wasn't just the border, it was also the little strawberries in the border. But that is Channing Street by Annie Beez Folkart. Love this one. It's such a beautiful sampler. I recently saw it finished on Instagram and it just looks so amazing. So I definitely was really excited to get back and start working on it, and I just had a heck of a time. So here is my progress. I was able to get more of the alphabet done, and then the border, I went this way and then I came back and decided to go down. I think I had this done. So I went this way and then I decided to turn the corner and go down, and this chunk right here was there was no way to fudge it. If I would have been able to fudge it, I would have, but there was no way to fudge it. I kept making almost the same mistake over and over again. And I finally discovered the mistake was like back in here. So I had ripped this out twice and then realized on the 3rd time when it didn't look quite right that the mistake was way back here. So I had to rip it all out this way. And I was determined to restitch it and then call it a day. So I did, and then decided to put it in timeout for a little while. But I really love this piece. I love the alphabet on it. It's so unique. I just love the font that she used. I just love it. It's a beautiful piece. So I am stitching Channing House on a piece of 36 count Vintage Country Mocha, and I am using the called for threads, and I'm stitching it 1/2. So my plans for the next 2 weeks will be to continue working on Spooky Countdown till it's done, and then I will pick up Elizabeth Furness and work on her August assignment. And then once her August assignment is done, which I'm not sure how long it will take me, but when her assignment's done, I will return to houses. But as far as what I will have to show in my next video, I'm not sure. It'll be a fun surprise. So over the past 2 weeks, I received a little bit of stitchy kindness. The only problem is I don't actually know who sent it to me. So I received a package from 123 Stitch, and when I opened it up, this chart was inside, and it is Little House Needleworks Pumpkin Hollow Farms. And this is such a beautiful little chart. I actually stitched it early on when I was first back into cross stitching, but I absolutely hated it. And I ended up, I think I gave it away or thrifted it. I didn't know anything about overdyed threads or anything. And so I had used the DMC conversion that was listed on the chart. And I just didn't like how it turned out. And I always wanted to restitch it, but I had given the chart away. And of course, you know, I'm pretty sure I thrifted the piece I had finished. But I always wanted to restitch it. And I've had several of you guys point out this chart to me. So I think it's going to have to be one that I'll have to consider working on next year. But if you were the person that sent this chart to me, will you please reach out and let me know? And thank you so very much. It was so kind of whoever sent it to me. And I definitely am going to have to look into working on this one again because I just really love it. Such a cute chart. A couple of weeks ago, Annie, the proper stitcher, reached out to me and let me know that she, on On the Flosstube video that was going to come out within like a day or two, she had an exciting announcement and she let me in on it a little bit early. And that was that she has started designing her own cross stitch, which I cannot think of a job that would be more fun than being able to design your own cross stitch. So about a week ago, she sent me her 4 newest patterns. The first one is called Clarissa's Garden. And this is what it looks like. So very, very beautiful. And I think this one on the chart, she actually includes a little bit about Clarissa. If I read through the 4 of them, and I feel like this is the one that she was able to do a little bit of research on. But this is such a beautiful sampler. The second sampler is called When Flowers Bloom 1830. So this would just be a really nice, quick, fun little stitch. So beautiful. The next chart, which I'm pretty positive I will butcher this gloriously, Zeresh Andrus 1789. So pretty, pretty, pretty. And the last one is called Caroline Carter 1823. So pretty. Now, if any of those caught your eye, Annie does have an Etsy shop. It is called The Proper Stitcher, and I will put a link to her Etsy shop down below. When I peeked in today, she has both PDF charts and paper charts available. Congratulations to Annie on designing her first cross stitch. That just sounds so exciting and so amazing, and I wish you the best of luck. Well, my friends, as far as all the cross stitching goes, that is all I have to show and share in today's video. I am going to talk about my quilting progress next. So if that's not something you're interested in seeing or hearing, this is a great stopping off point. And as usual, I will be back in 2 weeks. And I hope you have a great beginning of your August. But now I'm going to talk about quilts. So over the past 2 weeks, I feel like quilting wise, a lot more time opened up and I was able to get quite a bit more accomplished than I have been previously. I feel like during the summer, it's been very hit or miss on, time. And for whatever reason, over the past 2 weeks, I was able to sit down and really concentrate on my quilting. It's been a lot of fun. First thing that I was able to get accomplished was to quilt my Spangled quilt. I just did a overall swirl motif. I love swirls. I put them on a lot of my quilts. It's just a motif that I really enjoy putting on them. I think they look great. I think it looks great on the Spangled quilt. I absolutely love it. And I'm so happy to have it done. I think it's gonna look great during the month of August and into September. It just has a lot of those late summer, early fall colors, and I absolutely love how it turned out. I'm so happy that I have it done. It was a lot of fun to work on. Now I have a lot of you guys reach out. You are curious about the information of the quilt. It is called Spangled by Kim Deal. I got my pattern from the Fat Quarter Shop. They sell a paper pattern, but they also do have it available as a PDF. And all of the information on, if the kit's not available, all of the information of kitting it up yourself is shown on the back of the pattern. So I will put a link to the Fat Quarter Shop down below because that is where my pattern came from. I will put a link to the PDF download, just in case. I like PDFs, I can go either way, but the PDF would be a lot quicker than waiting for a paper chart. So I will put a link to the PDF download that is available on the Fat Quarter Shop's website, and I'll put it down below in the description box. So over the past 2 weeks, I was able to return to my Civil War Tribute block of the month. I think in my last video, I had finished a block 9, and then over these past 2 weeks, I was able to finish block 10 and block 11. So I have all of the blocks done, and they can be assembled. This is what month 10 looked like. So this was for the Battle of the Wilderness. This was one that had a lot of set-in seams, and I was really apprehensive about working on this block because the directions are not very well done. but it actually went really well. I did it a completely different way of doing the set in seams, and it went together really quickly. And I was actually really surprised. So it had you make one 12-inch block. So this is what it looks like. Love it. And one 18-inch block. So here's what it looks like. So very happy to have these both done, and I was so happy that it went together way better than I thought. And basically I opened up the book and I just sat there and stared at the finished block to try to figure out how to put it together, and it just sort of came to me. So I ran to the sewing machine and I thought, while it's fresh in my mind, I'm going to start assembling it. And it just went together like butter. I was so surprised. I didn't do it the way the directions said, because the directions were very poorly written. I didn't understand it. And I don't even know how to explain it, because a lot of you guys are working on the same quilt and you know this block is coming. And the only thing I can recommend is just sit down and just stare at it and look at the way the different things come together. Because I did not only a set and seam in the middle, but I also did it on one of the triangles, and it just went together. It was crazy how it went. The only thing I can think is the quilting fairy was right over my shoulder sprinkling her pixie dust, because that's the only way I can think of that it went together so amazing like it did. And riding on the high of, completing those two blocks, I thought, well, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut out month 11 and I'm going to put it together. And that's where everything went downhill. So here is month 11. It's a gorgeous center medallion, so beautiful. This one is Sherman's March to the Sea and Appomattox. And I'm doing research on my husband's family tree. I discovered that the same however many times great-grandfather that met my however many times great-grandfather on the battlefield of Chickamauga, he was transferred to Sherman's army, and he actually was in the March to the Sea. And whatever happened, whatever he saw, definitely stayed with him. He obviously had PTSD, and he ended up going to live in a soldier's home, which is where he eventually died. So just really sad. So while I was working on this block, I was thinking about him. It's not perfect, and it's humongous. It's 36.5 inches square, which is what it is supposed to be. So I was glad that it's the size it's supposed to be, but there was definitely some issues. So this is what it looks like. And hopefully you're able to see it all. It's really hard when they get to be this big. The center went great, but working on the sides did not. And I still need to go in and do a little bit of, there's like a couple of seams that aren't quite matching up, and I need to go in and try to get them a little bit closer to each other. But yeah, I definitely was very frustrated because I stuck with it until it got done. I think I finished it last night about 9:20, but I was really frustrated. The directions were fine. It's just some of the things didn't turn out. There's no sizes of each segment, so when you start to assemble things together, things weren't lining up right. So there was a lot of fudging. Like this center medallion, I have never fudged so much on a block as I did on this one. I mean, I just hope I hope it stays together for like 200 years. But I definitely threw every trick in the book I knew at it. Very frustrating. And this morning when I was kind of Googling it, I found out a lot of people had run into the same problem. I'm just giving thanks that it finished at the 36.5 inches square that it needed to. And now I'm going to say a million prayers that the whole quilt assembles okay. Because now that I have the center done, I can go ahead and assemble all the blocks. And then month 12 is basically the finishing. So it is doing the 2 outer borders and then the third border, which is made up of 204 half square triangles. And this is what it looks like. And it is representing the Battle of Franklin. So I will be getting started on this hopefully next week. I think what I will do is just cut it out, and then in my free time, I'll just begin working on the half square triangles. I think they are 2.5 inches. So I'll just be able to go in and cut them a different way, because the directions have you cut like 2 7/8 inch and then cut it on the diagonal. And I'm just I'm gonna cut mine out at 3, sew them the way I know how to, cut them apart, and then square them up to the 2.5 inches. That way they hopefully all go together. And then it will be the battle of putting everything together and hoping it all meets. So hopefully over the next 2 weeks, I can begin assembling the quilt top. And then I don't know how much time I will have in the next 2 weeks, but if I can, I'm gonna try to get the whole quilt assembled. If it doesn't work out, that's okay. But my goal is just to have it done by the end of August. So fingers crossed. But over the past 2 weeks, I did end up sort of dropping everything and working on a project with my friend Tina. It was just what I needed, because I just kind of just felt a lot of, I don't know, anxiety, just everything, just lots of stuff whirling around in my head constantly on a never-ending loop. And she reached out and we got to talking, and we decided to work on a project together. And it was just what I need. I felt like it kind of refreshed my soul a little bit, very much needed. And so I'm grateful that she reached out to me. And what we decided to work on was making a sort of small log cabin table topper. Several years ago, we had done an exchange where I had a little bit of a jelly roll left and she had a little bit of a jelly roll left, both by Joel Morton. So we cut that in half and then we swapped. So finally, it was time to sort of take those 2 elements, put them together, and make it into a little table topper. And here is what it looks like. So it is very, very cute. I absolutely love it. I decided to do mine where it was sort of going on the diagonal. And I will put a picture in the end of it, because it's kind of hard to get it all in on the viewfinder. So that is something that I definitely will need to get quilted, because I think it'll be perfect for this time of the year, especially as we're going into the fall season. And even because after Halloween's over, I do decorate for Thanksgiving, so it'll also be perfect for that. And then year round, I think it's just a really great utilitarian table runner. So I'll make sure to put a picture of it at the end of the video, so that way you guys can see what it looks like. But it was so much fun to work on it with her, and I'm just so very grateful that she reached out to me that day and that we decided to work on this together. It was so much fun. And she's actually in the process of, she might already be done, but she made a Halloween one, and I saw a picture of it. It's so cute, and I think she's in the process of quilting them. So well, my friends, as far as everything goes, that is all I have to show and share in today's video. If you have stuck around till the end, thank you so very much. I do really appreciate it. If you liked what you saw in today's video, I hope you will hit the like button, because it does allegedly help the algorithm of the video. And if you have any questions, I hope you will feel free to leave them down below in the comment section. I really enjoy reading through all of your guys' comments. The plan for me, of course, will be to be back in 2 weeks. But if you would like to see what I'm up to in between my videos, you can follow me on Instagram. I'm Pumpkin Hollow Quilts. I do have a Facebook page called Pumpkin Hollow Quilting, and I will put a link to both of those places down below. I have been putting in autumn goods in the Etsy shop. The first batch I put in last week, and they immediately sold out, and it blew me away. I'm still speechless. But I am so very thankful and grateful that you guys, those of you who are able to get them, I'm so happy that you were very excited about getting them. I do have more that I will be putting in my shop, and I do hope to list those either tomorrow or Saturday. I just have to go get some more boxes, but had a lot of fun making them. If you would like to purchase one, what I would suggest is following my Etsy shop and following my Facebook page, because I will announce it on my Facebook page that they're in the shop. And then, of course, if you follow my Etsy shop, you should be notified when I upload new items. So I'll put a link to my Etsy shop down below. But I shall leave you now. I hope you have a wonderful couple of weeks, and I will see you all again soon. Bye-bye.